Good day, good love, and good light, illuminators and wayshowers, guardians and angels of Gaia. Thank you once again for joining me. My name is Wendy, and this is Dave, and today, just another sharing of how I celebrate nature and the languages of lights, and using the essence of plants and their gifts to us by the way of their highest joy and excitement, that we use them as symbols and permission slips to explore more of all that we are, of our connections to all that is, to our planet, more of exploring how we can place with intention, really using intention specifically in our lives, whether it's using plants, crystals, nature, chimes, all of these things that we use as part of an exploration of all that we are and an expansion of all that we are. And one of my most exciting things that I discovered many years ago was the fact that plants actually create music. And the other thing is that different plants have different types of energies and properties and particular gifts that we use in cooperation and co-creation with them to bring in particular types of energies. And so many years ago, gosh, I want to say it was probably about 40, a little over 40 years ago, I fell in love. I had the most extremely interesting experience with a beautiful plant. And I've always been one of those people, the tree huggers, the plant lovers, that always had plants all over my house. So it didn't really surprise me, but I think the depth of the emotion surprised me. So I was literally at my grandma Wolf's house, and she had the most magnificent plant I had ever seen, and it was a jade plant. And this thing had to have been, I had never seen one so large, and I had realized I had seen them before, but this thing was so big. I mean, it was I couldn't even probably wrap my arms around it, and it was really several feet tall and very wide, and there was something just so majestic about it. And it over the years, I ended up not being able to get that particular one, but somehow, some way, of course, by synchronicity, I ended up getting a little tiny one and started growing them. And so over the years, there's been lots of generations of them, and I've given them away as plants, as gifts, because of the amazing properties of the jade plant. So today I just happened to be repotting my jade, and I was actually going to put the whole thing into a big brand new pot, but I didn't really have one big enough for the whole thing, and it is almost as if it said to me, we want to spread our wings and multiply. So here I am, and I'll hold them up for you too. But so I was just guided to share with you guys that I was repotting my jade plant, and I was inspired to share its gifts with you. And I was also reminded that many of us, of course, understand and use the jade crystal and its properties for a variety of reasons as well. So Dave has lovingly agreed to read a little bit. It's just an article that I came across. I just Googled it many years ago, and it stuck with me because when my jade finally got really big, really big, and I'd started making little babies of it as well, and giving them away as gifts. One day, right around my birthday, which is Thanksgiving here in the United States that time, November 28th, and I woke up one day and it was blooming and had these beautiful little teeny tiny whitish pink teeny flowers all over it. And to my delight and surprise, And I'm almost positive I've done videos about this years ago. So if you're new to my channel, I've got like, I don't know, over 1,000 videos, and back several years ago, I'm pretty sure I talked about this then too. But it just was, and it kept blooming, and it bloomed all the way until right around, I want to say late April, late April. So here I am now, we're into exactly 5/15/2021, May 15th. And there's lots of information about fives and fives and fives that have been coming through. And so I was also exploring yesterday plants that have 5 leaves. And so whatever that means to any of you to explore. But so I wanted to share just this beautiful auspicious energy with you, and another synchronicity behind us with our plant behind us, which I'll share at the end of this video. But and I also and I think maybe what I'll do too is maybe make a second part to this, and grab my jade plant and my jade my crystal book and talk about the jade crystal as well. Both Dave and I each have a jade crystal skull, so that we both had before we met. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. So Dave was just going to read this little excerpt from this article, and I'll put the link to it for you guys to read as well. But it was the one particular one that stuck out at me because mine bloomed, and I was so excited about it. And so I'm just going to show you some of my jades that I was replanting today. Making jade babies. So sharing the auspiciousness and the feng shui energy behind when I've also learned about the feng shui energies of this wonderful plant. So take it away, Jade.
And as directed,
as directed.
The article does talk also about the feng shui. Feng Shui is a tradition that really likes drawing parallels with nature. It talks about integration of human life with the nature so as to achieve maximum positive chi. One of the best ways through which a person can achieve the maximum benefit and unity with nature is through the use of Feng Shui plants. Jade is commonly known as jade tree plant, jade plant, friendly tree, lucky plant, or money plant in Feng Shui. Generally speaking, the most popular feng shui plants are evergreen plants with round, heart-shaped, thick, and succulent-looking leaves. Jade plant fits well with the criteria, and no doubt it's one of the most popular feng shui cure. Jade plant is a popular good luck charm in Asia, thought to activate financial energies. Jade presence in the house or office is considered auspicious. This beautiful succulent plant has vibrant green leaves that are symbolic of growth and renewal, closely resembling jade coins, stones symbolic of wealth and prosperity. The jade plant gives off a nourishing chi, the positive energy. It is a traditional gift for businesses and business owners in business owner places. A jade plant near the entrance of restaurants or shops, or in the southeast location, brings prosperity and success. It reflects vibrant, well-rooted energy. There's an over-expanding energy you would like to see reflected in newfound money. The money tree plant is supposed to produce positive vibrations that will bring prosperity to the owner of the house or business. Flowering jade plants reflect well on the owner and symbolize great friendship, luck, and prosperity. The green leaves signify energy and the joy of friendship, and the flowers represent the fragrance of great friendship.
And that is one of the biggest reasons, one of the main reasons why I gave it away as gifts, to bring the recipient all of those things that Dave just mentioned. And so what I love about these plants is they're very easy to grow. They really like a dry environment. I've got a nice cactus succulent organic mix here that I'm using. And so a couple of things I wanted to mention too, that here we are in May. It's the time of, here in the Northern Hemisphere, for planting seeds and green things and flowers sprouting. And these plants, when you separate them, they take a long time to grow, but they are so rewarding and to watch them branch out. And I wanted to mention that this whole bowl. I've got a bowl of leaves that they just kind of fall off, and especially when you're transplanting them. But each one of these, you stick it in the medium, and they will begin to grow additional plants. And like I said, they take time, so it's a labor of love, really. And I wanted to mention too that if you're new to my videos, one of the things when I very first started making them, they were in the woods, and I would find a lot of golf balls. And each and every time I found one of these golf balls, that sounds crazy, but I just remember being within, in the green and the evergreens, and even in the winter, and all of the cycles, all the seasons, walking through the woods, walking through the farm fields, and finding these golf balls everywhere. Apparently, our neighbors just like to practice, and so I have been, even in my own. My own belief systems also are that there's things that are limiting me that I can't do, and even with respect to allowing information through and channeling, and every time I found one of these golf balls, there was a message in it, even if it was just a number, the name of it, and this one. If you guys can see it, practice. The word practice. What does that mean to me? To keep practicing. What are my practices about spending more time in nature? I don't know if you guys can hear the chainsaw in the background, but that's one of the things here that it's always a surprise here what the sounds are going to be.
And that reminds me, with our connection to the trees,
yes,
how the tree gets to share its experience with us, and we share our experience with it,
yes,
even after it's cut down and used. Because if you look around, you would be surprised how many things have wood in them
or are
wood
made
products.
of wood. And we had a whole kind of a channeling. Was it last night? Was it when we were having a fire, about how I was really literally receiving this information from the trees, that I'm sharing my gratitude for the tree and the fire and the shade here, the place for the animals the birds to nest, and receiving the information about how, because it was this beautiful co-creation, that, of course, we can't breathe. We breathe what they breathe what we breathe. It is a dynamic. We could not exist really without each other in the way that we understand. So, but it was also about the co-creation of the idea of all the things that created our homes, our furniture, our dishes. The list goes on, and so they get to continue. That they literally said to me, "We get to continue experiencing you through our co-creation of exchanging of energy, even as cut wood, as part of the furniture, literally part of the furniture, part of the walls. They have ears, they have an essence, even as we say, after they're cut down. And so the same thing when we bring flowers, cut flowers into our homes. There's this agreement that the sharing is everlasting, that even long after the colors and the flowers themselves have completed their blooms, that I have thanked them for the gift of allowing me to cut them and bring them in the house, that I return them to the garden, and that they become once again part of all of that. And so there's this beautiful exchange of information and energy, and how we use literally plants and crystals, shells, all of these organic things around us as part of our practice. Part of our practice of becoming more aware of our natural state of being. What is your spiritual practice? Are you being reminded that you need to, I was even being reminded again today that you need to get out and walk more, that idea that I was walking all the time, and I was just reminded that that was something that that practice of getting out and walking and exploring, and a lot of it, of course, is because of the circumstances. But it's again, once again, what's in your own backyard. And I just saw the time on there, 15:15, which is kind of funny, being today's 5:15, and the 555, and the 5, literally this fifth dimensional energy being, came to me yesterday, with the introducing themselves as 5 and the 5, and how that relates to humanity and the humans. And I didn't really want to get into that right now, but it's that 5 energy. And so I'm being reminded right now too that today, even the 5/15/2021, another 555 energy. What is it? What practices can we include to bring intentional reminders of that all it takes is the intention of abundance, and intentionally placing it in certain spots to create a reality. And I was actually reminded of the tapestry. We were talking about tapestry today, and this piece of this tapestry briefcase that I used to use for, and still kind of do, as my symbol for meeting people all over the world and traveling all over the world. And so I was thinking about that today too, about that, how I intentionally placed it with that idea. And it was not long after that I began receiving informations from the angels, and tapping into higher information, and channeling, and started speaking light languages. And because I started sharing my light languages, and learning them, I should say, I don't want to say learning them, but being around others speaking them,
practicing them,
activated. Yes, it was practice. It really was practice, because I literally did, with intention, hang out with these people that were speaking light languages with the intention of practicing hearing them and feeling the vibration, and we'll use the metaphor, cutting the cords, cutting these negative belief systems that I can't do that. It's not something we learn. Light language is something we allow. And so all of this was me, even with the golf balls, allowing the information in. And I have to laugh, you guys, because the number 2 is also on this golf ball. And that's exactly what they shared with me yesterday with Dave and I, was about the 2 and the 5, and how they're mirrors of one another. And how the number 5 and the number 2, how it represents humanity. And just explaining that we, the 5, the 5 appendages, and yet everything is 2s, 2 eyes, 2, 2 lips, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 2 everything. And so whatever these things mean to you, I'm just guided to share with you as information that I'm receiving, and it's in the sharing that really is what activates us all. And I want to show you guys in the background. There's a video that we did when we planted Anastasia, which was back in, I think, end of October last year. And there's a wonderful story which I'll share with you soon, because I've been promising to share it, and it's my gift to my dear friend Sylvia.
There's more.
There's more to come. But Anastasia, our avocado tree back here, if you can see, if I'm pointing over there, is pretty tall now. I guess I could probably walk over there and stay. It's almost as tall as me now. And you'll notice in the video it was probably only about this big. So we planted it ceremonially, so it was a practice. and it was a gift. It was a how do I want to say this? It was a practice of gratitude toward the synchronicities and the people that were involved in the synchronicities, the time of the day it was planted, why it was planted, when it was. So, how we interact with nature is a practice. Where do all of us need to practice more of literally speaking to the plants and practicing telepathically opening contact with our own planet? Anima is another being, energy, idea that I'll be channeling more, explaining more about. And it's about that idea of when we or another species wants to become knowledgeable and knowing everything there is to know about that particular place, that particular planet. They want to learn everything. We haven't even learned everything about our own planet, our own telepathic connections to the plants, the animals, and how even our animals are also in our basically in our own image, if you will, with a head and 2 arms and 2 feet typically. And we were joking about the tail, and that the same thing, and so all of these reminders right here on our planet that I have been so in tune more and more lately with the what word do I want to use? I'm becoming so sensitive to, like, even this, the chainsaws and how we interact with the plants. How is that when I'm repotting a plant, I'm talking to it, loving it, being so grateful to it, asking its permission, if you will, to interact with it and separate it, and how, maybe there's a better way than chainsaws, and lawn mowers, and something that doesn't create an inharmonious vibration, but still works in harmony with the plant. Most of the plants will prefer that if we can pinch them, say, to encourage growth rather than cutting them. And if we have to cut them, that even in that practice, that it's with honor and reverence and a knowing. So we talk about that a lot here, with the way that we conduct ourselves energetically with the plant and animal kingdom, and where can we be practice, where can we find more harmonious practices in that way too, maybe using more organic things to fertilize, to manage the types of insects that we want to invite, and be in harmony with the plants. Where can we find better energetic ways to, do all of these things, and how I have just become, and so many of us, as we become more and more open to ourselves and our senses, our clairs, we become to understand how, wow, plants and animals, how they must be reacting to these sounds, these noises, these vibrations. And I wasn't even going to start the video, and Dave's like, do it with the noise. It's because it's got to be part. So obviously, number 5 symbolizes humanity. How can we practice better humanity? How can we practice being better humans? How can we practice, better ways to use our 5 digits and extensions when and how, where we can, where we're able, even if you only have one of them functioning. How can you practice, functioning and being a better human with what you got? And so, right in your own backyard, and expressing your love and your appreciation and honor in ways, in the ways that we practice horticulture, agriculture, how we support ourselves. All of these things are divinely intertwined. All of them have a lot to do with the number 5 and May. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting to say about May, but and the emerald green. I hadn't forgotten about that, but the idea of the emerald green and May flowers and planting seeds and blossoms and May flowers.
And the Mayflower.
And the Mayflower. Very interesting that we talked about that today, about Mayflowers and the Mayflower, and the whole idea of the Mayflower was a pilgrimage. It was visitors coming from afar to meet those of the indigenous land, to learn more about their culture, about their practices, about and that reminder to our native indigenous.
So, oh boy, we get to talk about open contact. So,
yes,
the idea of open contact is that in order for that to happen, we have to meet the beings that are coming to us as equals. And before we can do that, we need to practice treating everything as equals. And that includes the trees and the plants, yes, and the water and the environment.
Yes.
And because it's really all parts of ourselves, why wouldn't you treat other things like you would want to treat yourself? Because there really isn't others. So once you start thinking about things in that way, you do your best to come up with more holistic ways of doing anything and everything that you can think of. Because everything is connected, everything is part of one, and not only should you treat others like you would want to be treated yourself, you're actually only treating yourself as everything is connected, and as treating everything as equal, we can move closer toward the idea of open contact, which is really just meeting more of yourself.
And I was just reminded too about even these glasses that Dave chose. I love these glasses. We chose. Well, Dave found them. Because, we're outside, we're barefoot a lot. We're here in southern Florida. But
plastic also shatters.
And we found that out too. So that's the funny thing is that we wanted to use plastic out here instead of glass. And the funny thing is
we didn't want to use plastic.
We didn't want to use. See, this is the thing. We didn't want to use plastic. That's the thing behind this. So we were thinking, what can we use outside that's more suitable? And obviously there's stone cups as well. And so it just so happened that Dave found these stainless steel glasses, and so I absolutely love them. So it reminded me of the elements and being a part of the elements and being in harmony. And that, like he said, we didn't want to use plastic. And the funny thing is the irony of it is that the wind blew the cup, the plastic cup, it went flying, and actually I think, or did you step on it?
Then I stepped on it.
Then he stepped on it. That's what it. And so it was like, so the plastic shatters in pieces.
The whole reason why we didn't want to use glass.
Didn't want to use glass, and so we realized, okay, what's a better alternative? And it was very sharp. And so I said we need to find the pieces because it was such a thin, sharp plastic. And I said, it'll cut, it will cut us. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there too. That it's making those kinds of decisions too. That how can we replace the need for the manufacturing of these kinds of things, and how can we remove them from the environment simply by making other choices, and wherever we possibly can, even in the smallest of ways. So, yeah.
So as we move to work at living in a way that we prefer things to be, in a more holistic way, the world around us has to match it. And that's what we want.
And acting as if literally means you're creating you are vibrating in that frequency that literally creates that new earth, that it happens to us all the time, where we wake up tomorrow and find, oh, they've created, or someone has, designed and developed new types of outdoor machinery that are quieter, that I'm even reminded too about the electric car. Okay, now how quiet is that? And so how we can incorporate and make and even the idea of free energy, just throwing that out there, free energy.
So I'm very excited throughout the month of May to find out more and more about things of 5.
Yes, we're going to be excited and hearing more from the 5. So until the next now, we thank you so much for joining us once again and allowing us to practice our own highest joy and excitement. Thank you so much. And may you all be blessed with all of the wonderful beauty and abundance and the essence of the jade. And so maybe we'll talk about the jade, the jade crystals here in a little bit as well. So much love. Bye, everybody. Natia Shokoyala, Sisi Mtoya, Kilise Samo, Teleki Senotove Elegaya. Practice. And you're always perfect, always.